Hi, good morning. For those of you that don't know, I'm Pam from Old Hippie Homesteaders. I'm going to be showing you how to can potatoes today. Not just any potato, these are dry canned potatoes. These are not approved by the FDA. This is a rebel canner kind of a move, guys. I've been doing this for 3 years and we absolutely love the potatoes like this. Absolutely love them. I canned potatoes with water covering them for 40 years, and we hated every jar. We absolutely hated every jar. So at one point in my life, I stopped canning potatoes because they were just disgusting. They were mushy, they had a terrible taste. They were just awful. You couldn't do anything with them. So I learned about this through a friend that lives in the Amish country. And all you do is put the potatoes in the jar. Now, some people have started to put like a little pat of butter. I don't do that. I just do the potatoes. I put like a quarter teaspoon salt or half teaspoon of salt in. Unionized salt is what I put in here. These are the potatoes I just harvested out of my garden. Now the really small potatoes, let's see here. There's some really small potatoes in here. I didn't cut them in half, but I cut all the potatoes in half, as you can see. That's because the heat, if you don't cut them and they're bigger, the heat from canning cannot get through and deal with that botulism stuff. So you've got to cut them. And I pressure can the quarts for 40 minutes. And I have high elevation, so I do the pressure according to my elevation. And that's it. And when they're done canning, you'll see liquid, about this much liquid at the bottom of the jar. Now these, when you open them to eat them, I even have made these into French fries and canned them like this. And I had used my French fry cutter. So when I go to open these jars, I can fry them. They fry beautifully. They absolutely fry beautifully. They hold together very nicely. You can make your potato salads out of them. Just wonderful. It's just, I know it's not approved by the FDA, and I'm not telling you to do this, if it makes you sick. Everybody, I'm going to be getting a ton of messages, people saying that I'm trying to kill people. No, I'm not. Go along, move along to another channel, please. I've been doing this 3 years. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that dry can their potatoes. It's all over YouTube. It's all over Instagram. I think Instagrams are a little bit better. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to do this today. And I hope you give at least one jar a try. If you're afraid, maybe just do a pint. But these last the same amount of time as the regular potatoes that you cover with water. Now, when I do these potatoes, I wash them and I rinse them 3 times. Now, the reason I rinse them is to help get rid of the starch, because I don't blanch these at all. So when you can potatoes, sometimes you see like a real thick line of white, icky stuff. That's the starch. So the number 1 potato that has the most starch is the brown russet potatoes. They have a lot of starch and they do not hold together very well. So I don't do the brown russet. I don't even plant the brown russet. They're a waste of my time. I like the red, the purple, and the white. Now the red hold together the best and they have the least amount of starch. But I'm happy as a clam with these. I'm just happy as a clam. So watch my video. If you're wanting to try it and you've never done it before, maybe do a pint just to do a taste test. But read about it, look it up on YouTube, look it up on Instagram, see all the different ways that people are dry canning their potatoes. And it's caught on like crazy. It's just caught on because when you put the water over them, it's a waste. Just like when I do my squash or my pumpkin and you cover it with water, it's just a total waste. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the video and put in the comments if you've tried it, if you've liked them. I'm curious to find out. So have a cool day, guys. Enjoy the video and let's get cracking, shall we? If you want to blanch your potatoes, this is now the time. You blanch them for 3 minutes. So I've rinsed these potatoes 3 times. I fill the pan with water. I let it set for about 5 to 10 minutes. I drain it. And this is how I get some of the starch out of the potatoes. Because a lot of times when you can potatoes, after you take them out of the canner, they have a ton of white, it looks like glue down at the bottom of the jar. That's the starch. So I rinse these off really well. I rinse them 3 times. I let them soak. Soak and rinse, soak and rinse, soak and rinse. So now I've drained them. Now they're going to be going into the jar. Okay, so I add a half a teaspoon of uniodized salt to every jar. You can research your recipes and find out what you want, how much salt you want to put in yours. You don't really have to put any if you don't want to. So some of the smaller potatoes, I'm just going to put them in the jar. Like these little ones here, I'm just going to put them in the jar. The bigger ones you're going to have to cut because it helps the canning process and it helps to get that heat inside those potatoes to fight bacteria. And I leave the skin on because of all the nutrients. Everybody says, oh my God, don't leave potato skin on because they were in the dirt. Well, wash them off for God's sakes. My gosh. Now these, we prefer these potatoes dry canned. We prefer them that way. They're nice and firm. They fry up very, very easy. Now if you want to, and this is not approved, I'm going to say it again. This is not FDA approved, guys. So all you new canners out there, you know, read up on this. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you and showing you how I do our potatoes, okay? You still can them, pressure can them, the same way you would if you had added water. Now, some people add a little bit of butter to the bottom of the jar. I don't. I just add a little salt. Whoops, there goes a potato. I just add a little salt. Now, we go through these potatoes very, very quickly. Like I said, I'm also going to cut some up. I think I'm going to be cutting some up with our French fry cutter. So there's one jar. And you're just going to put your seal and your ring on and get it ready for the pressure canner. So let me get the rest of these jars ready to go. Okay, so here's all the quarts of potatoes that I'm going to be doing. I kept behind the bigger potatoes for us to bake or do something with later. So I cut them in half. Some of them I did not. If they were really small, I didn't cut them in half. I added a half a teaspoon of salt. You can add more if you like. So I got 8 quarts. Look at that. Now that's all I'm going to do. So now the next step, I'm going to be putting the I'm going to wipe off the rim of the jar. I'm going to put the seal and the ring on, and then I'm going to start pressure canning. Now remember, this is not FDA approved, guys, okay? It is not. And some people, when they dry can, they put in a little pat of butter at the bottom. I do not, because when you'll see the end of the video, after you take them out of the pressure canner, there is liquid in the jar. And the reason I cut them is because it gives the heat. The heat can get through the potatoes better for keeping out, I can't think right now. It just helps them stay safe when you eat them. if you leave them whole, that heat cannot get through a potato like that because it's so solid. Now sorry about that. I don't use ball or cur seals anymore. I use 4 jars. I was having too many seals either get sucked inside the jar, or I even had a pack of seals from Ball that came from China that the seals were bigger than the jar. So I stopped using that. I started using 4 jars. Now we get, we're an affiliate with 4 jars. You can use our code. Our code is OLD, old 10, OLD, and the number 10. And I will put that in the video description. But we have not had 1 jar fail because of a seal since we switched to 4 jars. So that's why I'm using 4 jars, guys. Okay, so I'm going to put the rings on, then they're going in the pressure canner. You guys need to check your book that came with your canner to tell you for your elevation. We have high elevation, so I'm going to be doing 15 pounds of pressure, and I'm going to be doing the quarts for 40 minutes. All right, they're all done. And as you can see, there's liquid down the bottom of each jar. But what you do not see is the starch. Now, when you can potatoes in water, you get a real thick, well, most of you get a real thick white gook. That's all the starch. Now, the potato that has the most starch are the brown russet potatoes. I like using the yellow or these red ones. I even can the purple ones. But anyway, here you go. They're all out. I did 45 minutes for quarts at about 15 pounds of pressure. I just now took them out. We got 8 beautiful quarts. And these potatoes, when they're done without water, they fry up beautifully. Or you can make them in potato salad or whatever you prefer. And they don't have that funky flavor of being canned in all that water or juice. Now remember, like I said earlier, this is not sanctioned. This is not FDA approved. You know, this is a rebel canner move, guys. You can, I hope you try just 1 jar. You know, just 1 jar to see how they taste. Now these will last the same amount of time as the canned potatoes in the water, but we eat what we canned, and it does not last us very long. Have a cool day, guys. Don't be afraid to try. Peace out.